Well, for the last 5 weeks, we've been exploring the significance of the fourth commandment. That commandment insists that all of us spend a day setting aside our work to rest every week of our lives. It is the commandment that is most frequently violated in our culture that rewards hard work and often views rest as laziness. But in our biblical tradition, as Tom pointed out, the commandment to rest is given equal authority as the commandment about idolatry and murder and theft and adultery. This morning, I want to invite us to explore the connection between the Sabbath commandment and the 10th commandment, the prohibition on coveting. Will you join with me in prayer? Let the words of my mouth and the meditations of our hearts be acceptable in your sight, O Lord, our rock and our Redeemer. Amen. Well, all of the commandments from the 4th through the 10th have to do with practices that are essential for bringing people into right relationship with each other. They are rules that promote safe, trustworthy, authentic community. And they build to their climactic conclusion in the 10th and final commandment that warns us that coveting is the ultimate destroyer of neighborhood. The term neighbor shows up 3 different times in the 10th commandment. You shall not covet your neighbor's house. You shall not covet your neighbor's wife or male or female slaves or ox or donkey or anything that belongs to your neighbor. As Walter Brueggemann points out in the final chapter of his book, Sabbath as Resistance, coveting generates mistrust and sets neighbor against neighbor. The commandment concerns the posture and practice of acquisitiveness. Acquisitiveness is the capacity and the readiness to acquire what properly belongs to another. Acquisitiveness. It's about respecting the neighbor, and in so doing, it's about preserving and honoring and enhancing the neighborhood. Well, it isn't hard to see why coveting is the ultimate destroyer of neighborhood, but what is it that connects the prohibition on coveting with the insistence on rest? Why is the 4th commandment critical to keeping the 10th commandment? The answer, I think, has to do with the distinction between a possession and a gift. When I possess something, I own it. It is exclusively mine. No one else can have access to it without my permission. Once it's become my possession, I can hold on to it as long as I choose. The 8th commandment prohibits anyone else from taking a possession that belongs to another. When I possess something, it's mine and mine alone. I've earned the right to keep it for my own exclusive use. But a gift is something entirely different. A gift is something that someone has shared with me. Not because I've earned or deserved it, but simply because they want me to have it. A gift is never exclusive. It is always relational. It connects the giver and the receiver. It's a symbol of the relationship that joins their lives together. Gifts are not possessions that belong to us forever. They are ours to cherish for a season. The ring that I wear on my left hand is a gift, not a possession. It was the ring that Patrice's grandfather received from his wife on their silver anniversary. A jeweler had taken his original worn-out wedding band and mounted it on a new, smooth gold band to celebrate the 25 years of marriage he had shared with his wife, Margaret. Margaret gave me her beloved husband's anniversary ring shortly after he died, when she discovered I had lost my own original wedding ring. It was a gift that expressed her hope that Patrice and I would find the same joy in our life together that she had experienced with John. I would not be able to wear this ring today if Margaret had ever withdrawn her support for my marriage. It isn't a possession, it's a gift. And gifts are always symbols of relational connections. Coveting is wanting to possess what can only be received as a gift. That seems to be the point that Jesus was making in the parable that he told about the rich young fool. His whole life had been devoted to accumulating more and more possessions instead of appreciating the gifts that God had lavishly bestowed on him. We covet the things that we want to possess for ourselves, but Jesus assures us that it is God's good pleasure to give us as gift everything that we need. Do not keep striving for what you are to eat or what you are to drink. Do not keep worrying. Your Father knows that you need them. Instead, strive for His kingdom, and these things will be yours as well. Do not be afraid, little flock. It is your Father's good pleasure to give you the kingdom. Jesus invites us to stop accumulating possessions so that we can cherish the gifts that God so graciously bestows on us all. The desire to possess what belongs to another can only be counteracted by a deep appreciation for the gifts that have been shared with us. No matter how much we accumulate, no matter how many possessions we own, no matter how hard we work to amass wealth, it'll never be enough. Coveting what belongs to another is an insatiable desire. The only antidote to acquisitiveness is thanksgiving. And thanksgiving is nurtured in Sabbath rest. We can only appreciate the gifts that we've been given when we stop working to accumulate possessions. Two weeks ago, Patrice and I were enjoying a wonderful Sabbath time during our vacation. For most of the week, our time together was completely unencumbered. There was nothing that we had to do, nowhere we had to go, no one we had to see. Hours were spent just sitting and staring at the beauty of God's creation. We got to watch a mother osprey feeding a fish to her fledglings. Had a photo session with some sandhill cranes. Were serenaded by loons as we drifted off to sleep at night, and got to enjoy several really good novels. I came to the office on Tuesday morning relaxed and refreshed and eager to return to the work of pastoring this congregation. But 2 days later, by the end of work on Wednesday, I was exhausted and depleted. I'd scheduled way too many things than I could realistically hope to accomplish. By the end of my second day back, I was short-tempered, frustrated, irritable, and annoyed. I had a throbbing headache and didn't feel like doing this work anymore. The contrast between the relaxing Sabbath week of vacation and the exhausting schedule I had set for myself in my first 2 days back was so jarring that it forced me to step back and ask, why? Why do I keep doing this to myself? Why do I keep saying yes to too many things? Why am I so reluctant to put off things until I have more time and more energy to devote to them? Why does it feel so urgent for me to do everything immediately? The answer, I now realize, has a lot to do with the 10th commandment. The thing that I covet the most is not your possessions. It's not your success. It's not your wealth. It's not your wife. It's your approval. This week I was on the phone with my good friend and colleague Dale Davis, and he was grieving the loss of a parishioner who left his church to join a different church in their community. It was a parishioner whom Dale deeply admired, someone in whom he had invested a lot of time and energy, helping him grow in his faith, helping him see the connections between his work as a construction manager and the ministry of reconciliation, someone to whom Dale felt a deep connection. I could hear the grief in Dale's voice when, at the end of our conversation, he told me how disappointed he was to lose this person from the congregation that he serves. I carry the same grief over all the people who have left the churches that I've served, including this one, because I could not keep their approval. When I try to do more than I can, when I add too many things to my schedule, when I come home exhausted at the end of the day, it's usually because I've turned your approval into a possession that I want to keep forever. As long as I continue coveting your approval, I will continue working too hard to hold on to it. But the truth is, your approval is a gift that is mine to enjoy for a season. Eventually, I will disappoint you. I will do something that will offend you. I will dress in a way that you do not approve of. Our lives will take us in different directions, and the season of your favor will be withdrawn. I know that. I will always be disappointed when I fall out of favor with people who are significant to me. But keeping Sabbath keeps me from treating your favor as if it is something that I can possess. It provides time for me to cherish the season of favor that is ours to enjoy together. Sometimes we covet material things that belong to someone else. Sometimes we covet their relationships. Sometimes we covet their lifestyles. Sometimes we covet their approval. Whenever we try to possess what belongs to another, it destroys neighborhood. Sabbath rest keeps us from working too hard to acquire and possess what can only be received as a gift. It makes space for thanksgiving and gratitude and appreciation to flourish. And it keeps our acquisitive nature from ever getting the best of us. Amen.